I'm here with Preston Smith. We're out at Ponderosa Park in Houston. It's a beautiful day.
Yes,
Man,
it
it's
is. Yes,
nice.
it is. It's nice. Real nice.
And I'll stitch together a little information before this, but again, thank you for coming out here. We've been sitting here talking, I don't know, man, it's been like 30 minutes, 45 minutes already.
Yeah.
Reminiscing about the good old days. But for our purposes here, and I don't think I've ever asked you this, what's your background as a kid with being in the outdoors and everything else? Because I know you've been on a lot of field trips, and we'll get to that. But
Well,
where'd you start?
A Boy Scout.
Were you really?
I was a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout, then I was a Boy Scout. And that's what brought my love for outdoors. My dad did camping with me. He went on my trips with me as a Boy Scout. He didn't want to leave me by myself out there. They had a camp in New Orleans in Slidell, Camp V-Ball. And it was a large camp, all the Boy Scout troops all over the city during the summer. Spent 2 weeks out there in the field. And I enjoyed it. I learned nature at its best.
Did you take to it right away? Or were you like...
First of all, you know, I had never slept in a tent.
Yeah.
I had never slept outside my bed. You know, but I was comfortable because my dad was in the tent with me. It was a two-man tent. And our sleeping bag was on like a cot, you know. And I'm hearing stuff out there in the woods that you don't hear in the city. You know, I'm a city boy, but I had an opportunity to enjoy nature with my dad. You know, I seen deers. We canoed. We did things that Boy Scouts needed to do.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was great. And from that point on, I'm just an outdoor cat. I can do office work, but I like being out.
Yeah.
You know, you get more out of me being out. Not saying that I won't give you more being in.
Yeah.
But I have a tendency to just give more being out.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I feel the same way, but it's hard to explain it. Do you got any perspective?
You know what? When you're out, you give an inner side of yourself that you know you didn't have. But first of all, when you're dealing with nature, it's the unexpected. It's the unexpected. So you don't know what you're gonna deal with. You don't know how it's gonna approach you. So how you deal with it? It's not a manual. It's not you go to page 26 and learn how to do this. So you have to adapt. One or two things, you're gonna adapt or you're not gonna adapt. And sometimes your adapt can help you to live and keep going.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think everybody need to get out. I think people need to see what's outdoors and see what's out there that you won't see in a book. And it's better when you see it, when you smell it, when you feel it. You know, I love watching the channels on TV with Geology and things like that. But when you out here seeing what you're seeing on TV, it's no match.
Dude, one of the things that just made me think of is some of these places, like with that smell, like some of the places in Utah, they got this smell to them when you're walking around outside or when you hit a plant or something.
Right.
You can't see. TV is nice, yeah. I agree. I watch all that stuff all the time.
Right.
And I go back and watch all the videos from our trips and,
Right.
and do all that. But man, some of the smells and the food at some of these places, that's man, that's what I go to.
Yeah, you know what? Once again, you can't put a price tag on that. It's it's a smell you don't get everywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true.
In order for you to describe what we're talking about, you got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You got to submerge yourself up. Just give yourself an opportunity to get out there. That's all.
What do you got for favorite food? Because now I'm on food places. Do you remember anywhere from the field that you liked? Like for me, we're in Bishop, California, and I don't know that you ever made it on that trip, but they got this little shack type thing, small town, and it's called Mahogany Smoked Meats. And they got the best beef. They got a jerky of every animal you could imagine in there. But they got this one it's basically a pot roast that they've dried. It's called cowboy beef, and it's this huge chunk of beef. That thing's amazing.
I'm gonna tell you, we was on one trip. We was in Colorado. We went to this restaurant and they had bison. I had never eaten bison before. And it was a bison steak. And everybody kept saying, Pete, try the bison, try the bison. You know. And I'm gonna tell you, totally different.
Yeah.
It had a flavor I have never tasted before in my life. Now I'm a boy from New Orleans, you know, Cajun food, you know, gumbo, you know, and I did a lot of cooking. That was something that has resonated in my taste buds, in my mind forever.
Nice.
And it was well seasoned. I was expecting this real strong, gamey taste to it. And I asked the waiter, I said, tell me how y'all remove this gamey taste, because bison is a thick piece of meat when you think about it. You know, picture a bison, that's a big animal. Yeah. It's a thick animal. You know, he said they soak that meat in milk for days. For days.
Wow.
And it was such a great, I've never had it since then, because I've never been back in that region to see. But now I found out that you can buy bison. It's hard to buy it in steak cut.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe I need to research and see if I can find it here. I will never forget that. Great dinner, great meal, great. The food was excellent, but the company was better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thankful for the company I've been around on field trips. You know, great people, very, very great people, great service.
Yeah.
You know, I thank God for that. He blessed me to see and be around nature at its best. Great people, great instructors, you know, and great meals. I gained a lot of weight.
I believe that. Me too. It's hard, man.
Oh my God. I think about the jalapeno margaritas. Oh my God.
Yeah, those are good.
You know,
those are good.
With that, we was in we did the Guadalupe.
That was in Van. I think it's just called Van Horn Hotel.
We was in Van Horn Hotel.
With that little bar they got there, man.
Right there.
They got good wings.
We ate all the wings they had up.
Yeah,
in
they
there.
did. Literally ate all the wings.
We literally ate every wing they had up, and they had to go find the chicken.
I remember someone tried to order them at dinner, and they're like, "Oh no, we ain't got it." This was before dinner even started. We got back there.
Yeah. You know, so great.
That's a cool stop.
Yeah,
that was a cool stop.
Yeah, and that was a nice hotel.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. I mean, real nice hotel. People very nice, very nice.
Yeah. What aside from the people, maybe we'll touch on that more. But I was going to ask, off of that, what's the most favorite aspect of these trips for you that you've been on? I mean, aside from the people, because that's probably number one, because you're a people person. Driving, the scenery, learning the geology, I don't know. What?
I'm going to tell you, learning a new highway.
Yeah.
Adjusting to the altitude. We were on a trip, and I was trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. Now, you know, I'm a person that takes care of himself, and I work out. The altitude, I was struggling breathing. I thought, you know what's going on with me, until when I realized the altitude. But with that altitude, it was such beauty, man. I mean, mountains were just. But now I'm trying to figure out
why you can't take more than 5 steps without stopping.
You know, I'm saying, and I told my partner Hoffman was with me. I said, "Hoff," I said, "This happened to you." He said the same thing too. He said, and we on a hike, we did a little hike with the group. You know, we walked up the side of the mountain with them, and I struggled getting up that mountain. Mm-hmm. And when we got to the top, me and Hoffman sat down for about 2 hours. And you know, the breathing, that was a new adjustment for me. I had never had that to happen to me.
Yeah.
I seen a bald eagle.
Oh, did you really?
Blew me and Hoffman.
Never seen a bald eagle out there.
Blew us away.
Nice.
It's, you know, to actually see something that you see on TV, and we didn't realize how big he was.
Yeah.
When he landed, when we seen him standing on his feet, them talons,
They take a chunk out of you.
oh my God, such a beautiful animal.
That's cool.
You know, once again, just to see nature at its best.
Yeah, you're out there in it.
I mean, I'm smack dead in it. You know, to drive up the side of a mountain in a vehicle and to see the landscaping and not knowing, I've never experienced driving on such beautiful land. When you know, to get on a plateau and you looking and you literally hear the wind.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You actually hear the wind. I called my wife and I took my phone and I held my phone up. I said, babe, tell me what you hear. She said, I don't hear nothing. She said, but what is that noise in the background? I said, that's the wind. You know, it's just something unbelievable, man.
Dude, that's awesome. You remember we were out in Utah. I think it was on a trip. I think it was on the trip with the Norwegian girls.
Right.
And we were hiking up to the arch. And
Right.
we talked you into going out there. And you didn't make it all the way, but I was proud of you for how far you made it.
Right.
But talk me through that, because I think you were that was pushing it for you, just based on the intensity, not physical, but just the exposure of that hike and what was out there and the terrain and some of the psychological stuff.
Let me tell you, the height of that trip.
Yeah.
When you say, Pete, I know you can make it, just walk with us. And I did.
Yeah.
We got to one point when I looked around, I couldn't, it's like my feet turned to bricks. and I'm looking at y'all walking away, and somebody stood and said, Pete, you done got this far.
Yeah.
You can, and I couldn't do it. You know, I literally got a phobia. It's like all of a sudden, look.
It gets steep over there, and you're walking on the slick rock over there, which it's got good grip, but it doesn't seem like it.
Right.
And you're going at a constant angle. I don't blame you. I mean, I remember us trying to talk you into it.
Yeah.
You were praying for some some strength or some guidance, but it wasn't coming.
I just and I'm not afraid of anything.
Yeah. I know. I've never known you to be afraid of heights. I know it wasn't heights.
You know, and it's like I couldn't get that drive to go any further.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm saying, I can't, y'all, I can't get to that point.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I had never been before in my life.
I know.
In heights.
Some place a lot of people don't even ever get to see.
You know, and place I never got a chance to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I sat down and waited for y'all.
Yeah.
I couldn't go.
You were good.
And you told me, CP, if you can't do it, just sit here and wait for it. And that's what I did. I enjoyed the scenery around me. I just couldn't get to that plateau. I couldn't get, and I wanted to get there.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what y'all were seeing up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm looking at, I had never seen before.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get to that point, and I just couldn't get there.
Next time you get out there, you go a little further.
Yeah.
You keep going till you get there.
Yeah. And I remember telling myself, next time you might not get this opportunity.
It's true.
Get there.
Yeah.
Get there.
It's a good mindset, but
Yeah.
you know, sometimes the reality is it's just not the time for you.
Right.
You know,
right.
and whatever that might be.
You know.
I remember the first time I ever went. Have you ever been to Enchanted Rock? Central Texas.
I don't.
It's this big dome around Fredericksburg. It's a popular park. It's really popular, but
I'm not sure.
you're not missing too much.
Right.
But it's kind of like that relay ramp that you were on, where we start climbing up, and it's just a steep dome type hill, and it looks like you can never see the top of it at some points.
Right.
But man, I was terrified of that thing. And I don't know. When I go to Enchanted Rock, it's just this big dome. You climb straight up the side of it, and I get it. That's why I remember that so much. I just remember you sitting there, and I was trying to talk you into it, trying to cause a little trouble, but I was like, man, you can do it, because I thought you could. But I know how you felt. I know what it's like to be on that kind of surface, and it is not a good feeling. Now, when you're done, you're done. I'm
gonna tell you what training trip that boy I was leery about when we did that. When we did our training in Phoenix, we did that big rock We used to have to.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris.
Little
I'ma tell
Lions
you.
back.
Yeah, Little
You
Lions
talking
back.
about the time we did it in that Forerunner?
And that Forerunner.
Man, that was, yeah.
Chris,
I was
I'm gonna
scared
tell
about
you.
that, too.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Like I said, there's not nothing. There ain't too much that I'm not afraid of. That challenged me. That encouraged me to say, you have to do this. You might have to do this to save somebody's life.
Yeah.
And what that did, that brought my challenge to another degree. After I made it the first time, when we got up top and when I set, because it's either way you go, you did. If that truck fall off of there,
Yeah.
that's it.
There's gonna be some rolling.
It's gonna be some rolling. But because I'm listening to you through the radio, because you was at the bottom, and as you talk me through that, when I got down, I said, I won't do it again.
Yep.
I won't do it again. And I remember the path that you instructed me to take.
Mm-hmm.
I followed that path, but when I went with it the second time, I had confidence the second time. And each time I did it, all the fear left.
Yeah.
All the fear. So now I know if I have to accomplish a feat like this to help somebody or to get somewhere to be with somebody, I can do it.
Was that as bad as anything you remember seeing on a trip, personally? Because on that Jeep trip, there's some steep climbs and other things like that.
Now I'm gonna tell you, we had some serious steep climbs on some trips, and when we are on them trips, your responsibility, you got people you're responsible for. And I always want to make sure that everybody who rode with us on that trip, that number one was safety.
Yeah.
We never compromised safety.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we got what we needed to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that everybody is seeing what they need to see, but it has to be safe. We had a breakdown, me and Diana, I remember one of the first breakdowns in the middle of a mountain. Rough terrain. Nothing flat. So now we got to figure out how we get a flat surface to jack this big old truck up. And we did. And we got the tire from underneath it, and we was in the middle of the trip. We had a lot more rough terrain to go, so we're trying to figure out, we mess up on, we got to make sure we try to not blow another tire. We got to get to this point, to get through these mountains, and we did, but it was a challenge that we had trained to do, and we made the challenge, and it made everybody else feel comfortable knowing, well, we got some people who can accomplish the challenge.
You talk about safety too, which is obviously number one, but you can go ahead and say on camera that your car was the best and you had the jazz, and you were the smoothest driver out there by far. I remember we were going down the Williams Ranch Road, and that thing was, you could have drank a cup of water to your face, not spilled a drop of water, and I just bounce over stuff, I get there, but you were smooth, man.
Well, you know what? The training, when you train like we did on terrain that you're not gonna ride nowhere else, yeah. It prepares you for it. Now, will it go the same all the time? No. Williams Ranch, I had a geologist got sick in the truck with me.
Did you really?
Yeah. Remember the Cherokee 4? Remember when we went on the Cherokee?
Yeah.
And guess what? He got sick because we rolled and we rocked. We rolled and we rocked. And the young guy, he got sick up in there, and he started up chucking outside the truck. Hey, but we got there. Mm-hmm. And Williams Ranch was a challenge. Yeah,
it's a rough road depending on how they've treated it or neglected it.
Right.
It's a long, slow road too.
That's a long, slow road.
Yeah.
What
about favorite group? Anybody stick out in your mind? I know it's hard because for me they all run together a little bit, and there's good. There's no real bad in any group, but some groups just come together a little more. And
I'm gonna tell you, my very first trip.
Where was that at? I don't even remember.
Dr. Lee and it was Doc and
Rondi?
and Rodney and Rodney
Wyoming, man.
and Wyoming. That first group.
Oh man, yeah, you told me about that.
That first group. We had a young lady from Egypt that was in that group. Closeness, respect for one another's titles. But everybody have their own title. I'm an engineer. I'm this. I'm that. But everybody, all that went out the window. The titles went out the window. I seen a group of people that worked together, respected one another. I seen the instructors give their best. You understand? We talked about family. We talked about how we want to be better people besides geologists and engineers. How we can make a difference in the world. We shared our cultures. You talking, we had all ethnic group in there. I mean, we cried. We broke bread at a dinner table and we cried because we learned from each other. I was questioning, me being a black man in the United States, me being a former officer, Preston, how you dealt with this, how you, and what it did for me, it made me bring my soul out. People put everything on the table. We talked about it. We learned from the trip. I learned so much from them as human beings beside the trip. That I till this day, that first group is gonna always be better. All of them are a part of me, but that first one is here.
Yeah,
it's here in the heart. It's here. It is. It's here in the heart. And I thank the instructors. I thank you for giving me this opportunity because I knew from that point on, this was something I was gonna love doing. I knew I was gonna love it, and I did. Chris, I look forward to the trips. I want to know where we was going. When I received my itinerary, I looked to see where I was going. I want to know what I was going to do. Then I want to prepare myself to be best for my group. For you. I want to make sure that, I covered all my bases. We worked as a team. I wanted them to know I got you. Don't worry about nothing. I want you to enjoy yourself. I got you. And that's what we did. That's what we did. That's what we did. That's what RPS gave me the opportunity to do. Besides being professional, it gave me an opportunity to be the best human being that I could be. But remember this, they gave me the best back. When I gave them me, they gave it back to me. Yep. I sat in the classroom and I like a student, I learned about all kind of things in geology that I had never been exposed to. It gave me an opportunity to also talk to my young people at my church about geology. So RPS in my trip, it opened up a door, not a window. It opened up a door for me to share some things that a lot of young people, especially young black kids, are not exposed to. So that, so RPS, guess what? RPS did their thing for me.
Nice.
They did their thing for me. They really did. You gave me something I was able to give back. And I'm still giving it back. I'm still giving it back. I miss it, man.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Man, that's awesome.
I miss it.
Talk about, it's a perspective that I don't have, but especially in Rock Springs, Wyoming, where that trip is, not very sparsely populated, or it is sparsely populated. Being a black man out there and what that was like for you and any obstacles that you overcame, or just how that was to you.
Well, it showed itself. I remember dinner time. We went out to dinner. I'm the only brother, in the group. But everybody else who I was with didn't see my color. And it was so obvious. Two of the geologists said, "P, sit at the head of the table." I said, I'm here. He said, "No, sit at." They was adamant that I sit at the head of the table. And I'm saying, "Guys, why y'all want me to sit at the table?" Well, they noticed everybody looking at me when we walked in the restaurant. I was the only black guy in the restaurant. And we talking about, they might have had, this was a beautiful restaurant. They might have had about 200 people up in there. And they asked me to sit at the head of the table. And the look I got, like, what is he doing here? You know, like who's, this a new guy. It's a new guy with a different color. And two of the geologists were very upset about the look that I got. And I told them, say, guys, look, I'm with my family. Y'all my family. Y'all my people. Don't worry about that. And that was the first time I felt that I was in the world by myself. The group didn't make me feel like that. The restaurant made me feel like that. It made me feel like I was the only guy in this whole world by myself, amongst everybody by myself.
2019 or 2018, whenever it was.
And I'm gonna tell you, I was more concerned about the group I was with than myself, because I didn't want to get them pulled into somebody making a comment, and they would have to defend me amongst them. And I said, guys, and we had some women in the group, and the women felt it. They were uncomfortable with it. They didn't like it, And I told them, I said, guys, don't worry about that. I said, I'm with you guys. We together as a family. And that moment after dinner, when I got back to my room, I called my wife, and I said, babe, I don't feel good. She said, why you don't feel good? I said, I felt like I was in a strange place. I said, I didn't do nobody anything. I said, the team made me feel great. I said, other people, they made me feel uncomfortable, and I didn't do anything. I said, but it just makes me understand this is what we have to deal with in the world today. I said, I'm going to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. And she told me, she said, just pray and you're going to be fine. And that's what I did. And Chris, I never had a chance to tell you that, and I'm telling you about it now. And it bothers me. It bothers me talking about it now.
Yeah.
What are we teaching our children? What are we doing as a country? But once again, my family, and when I mean my family, my team, they got me through that. They got me through that. Great meal as always, but my team got, and we talked about it the next day. We was listening to some jazz. We get in the truck, and they said, P, what kind of music you listen to? I said, I listen to it all. So somebody asked me, say, P, you got some Garth Brooks? Bam, I put Garth Brooks on for,
DJ P.
Yeah, I told him, I said, man, music is for the soul. I don't care, what you listen to. Let it fill your soul. And that's what the team did for me at that dinner table. They fill my soul with their soul. And yeah, Chris, that was tough for you, brother.
Yeah,
that was
I bet
tough.
it was, man.
That was tough.
No, I didn't know that.
That was tough. That was tough.
I'm not naive to it. Like I was in Maine working, and Maine's pretty rural, pretty white, and the guy I was working with was black. His name was Tawan. Man, he's one of the best people I ever met. But we tried to go into a gas station to get some food, and they just straight up ignored my boy until it was like 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, hey, I think he just wanted a pizza or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had never like firsthand experienced anything like that.
Right.
Because to me, I'm just like, I do me. Like,
right.
I'm gonna treat you right.
Right.
If you're a bad person, no matter what color you are, I'm not gonna like you.
Right.
But
Right.
Everybody's equal. Everybody's the same.
Right.
And that was the first time I saw that, and I remember that to this day. But I know that it's out there, and I've seen a handful of black people go on these trips and whatever. And Trina at the office, I know we were going to send her to one in Wyoming, and Trina would tell you, she's funny, but straight up she's like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it out in Wyoming. I was like, and I didn't think about it, but then I was like, oh yeah, no, that's a legitimate, like,
Right.
that'll make a person
Right.
scared. Like there's some places where I'd feel uncomfortable going
Right.
into just the thought of it.
Right.
And then you're there and you do what you need to do. You're isolated and you got to
Right.
deal with it. But what would you say to other people like you, people of color or black people out there that are going into some of these places, geologists maybe,
Right.
that are minority in their field and they're going out to Montana or Wyoming or places
Right.
they don't have any experience with?
Let me tell you, go. Don't let somebody else's negativity stop you from being productive. Go. This country is for everybody. Get a chance to see what God had put out here for. It's a beautiful world out here. Don't let nobody stop you from seeing it. I've had the opportunity to see God's green earth with these two eyeballs like I've never seen before. And I thank God, Chris, that I had this opportunity to see. I would tell any brother or any sister that's a geologist, any my sisters and brothers, Hispanic, whatever, go. Don't let nobody stop you from seeing what's out there. Because what you see, you can help somebody else see. See it for yourself. It's going to give you a conversation to talk about. Let me tell you something. Chance of you seeing a black man in Wyoming, Montana, slim to none. I know I was one of them out there. But I enjoyed myself because I was with a family who I didn't see no color at all. I told my team, who I was with on every trip, when we roll together.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them,
100%.
I said 100%. I said, nobody can come in between us. I'm not gonna let nobody come in between us. You understand? I told them, unfortunately, I didn't pick this color. I didn't have anything to do with this color. Just like I know you didn't have anything to do with your color. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna treat you like I know God expects me to treat you. I love you because you my brother, you my friend. Why we can't sit down and guess what? It's all right to have a difference, but I don't have to hate you because you don't agree with what I like, or vice versa. And we can just sit down and listen. See, if we take time to listen to one another, we'd be all right, Chris.
Oh, I know, man. I don't know why people got to be so mean to one another.
Right, we'd be all right. Look, we would do that on the trips. When we get in the truck, we snacking, we listen to some music, we talking about what we seen. I had some geology, Preston. I would love to do a class for some of your young people at your church. I've had some instructors willing to give their time and even their money to put a class together. If we can just stop, Chris, and teach one another about each other's culture, man, it's like a gumbo, a little bit of everything up in it.
Absolutely.
And it tastes great.
Hell yeah.
You see, so if we just take time to listen to one another and help one another, I'm not gonna leave you, Chris, stranded nowhere because you're not black.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that to nobody. I'm not gonna turn my back on you because I'm with a bunch of black brothers and you're the only white guy. I'm not gonna do that.
I believe that.
I'm not gonna do that. You can't make me side because I'm with a bunch of black guys and it's just one white guy or one white female. No, you can't make me do that. I'm not gonna do that. And we shouldn't put each other in a box like that.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about these trips that they got some great men and women out here, and I'm talking about all ethnic groups. They got some beautiful people out here. And I was blessed to be amongst them. Not one group treated me different. Not one group. Now they might have got upset because they couldn't get in a jazz wagon because I they used to call me the jazz wagon, the DJ man. You understand? So they would alternate. Would alternate, and I want to make sure that everybody got a chance to ride with me because I wanted to ride with everybody. I want to know about this group from Shell. I want to know about this group from BP. I want to know them besides being geologists. What you enjoy. How many children you have. You understand? We talked about families. You know, there was fathers, there was mothers, there was wives and husbands on these trips. So we talked about everyday life beside the geology part, and it was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
It was great.
I'll probably edit this question out because this is more of a personal curiosity. But in the summer, with all the protests and everything, I mean, everybody's reminded that there's still some problems. Depending on where you look, I think the majority of people are good, right? But one of the things that I heard, because I'm like you, I'm like, I know it's a problem,
Right.
and I know that black people get treated differently,
Right.
just because, I don't know, society works that way in some ways and whatever. But in my head, I was like, I get it, but also I don't see people as being this, that, or the other. Like, I don't see this as a Chinese person.
Right.
My grandma was Mexican. I didn't say she's a Mexican. Like,
Right.
you're
Right.
not a black dude.
Right.
But
Right.
there was a lot of argument that people who don't see color,
Right.
quote unquote, are part of the problem because
Right.
they're not recognizing the problem. So what do you think about that perspective, or what would you say? Not to refute it, but just to add context to, because I don't know exactly how to explain it. Like, I don't
Right.
see color, but I also understand.
Right.
Like, we got problems.
I think we need to look at each other as human beings and not color. My father and mother raised me and my two sisters to respect people, period. No color, no ethnic. Respect people because they are human beings. My father was a Marine, ex-Marine in the Korean War. He was a drill instructor, he was a soldier.
Oh man.
And that's where I got it from. My love and discipline come through my father and my mother. My love for people come through going to Sunday school, going to church. My love for people, I went to interracial junior high school where I had every color God put on the face of the earth at my junior high school.
What was that like?
It was wonderful.
Because that would have been, not to date you, but
Right.
that would have been around the time. I mean, stuff was a little more intense, more well known historically, whatever.
It was wonderful. We had a Hispanic principal and we had a black assistant principal. It was wonderful.
Out in Louisiana now?
In Louisiana, it was wonderful. And the school name had been changed. It was PGT Beauregard, the school I went to. Now it's Thurgood Marshall.
Okay.
So that tell you, but the student body was everybody. When we seen each other, and music was all. I just, my mother was an opera singer, so music been a part of my life. My daddy, Jimmy Smith was my daddy's brother, who was a organist and a jazz music. So music has always been a part of my life. I played music. I was a percussion. I sung in a choir. I just have an ear for music. Love music. I went to a school where every day I seen. It was like being in a crayon box with all the colors. And you know what? We learned from each other. We enjoyed each other. Not one time I heard nobody use the N-word. Not one time I heard nobody call nobody a spick. And all them years I was at that school, not one time it was no physical fight.
Really?
Not one time. We had a mixed football team. I had a white quarterback. My running back was a Korean with me. And we went to high school together. We had Hispanic and white cats, the offensive line. We were brothers. We didn't look at color. So now you take that in Louisiana, you understand? When my daddy come home from the war, Korean War, in his dress blues, a decorated Marine, he got on the bus, and my father shared this with me, and it was a teaching moment for me. When he got on the white bus driver told my father, "Son, thank you for your service. Now get your ass to the back of the bus." That's what he told my father. And when my daddy told me that, I said, "Well, Daddy, what did you do?" He said, "I got to the back of the bus as instructed." He said, "But I didn't let it change me." Chris, we have to learn how to be a part of the solution. We have enough problems.
Yeah.
If we don't learn how to sit down and listen to one another, figure out how we can resolve these problems, the United States gonna be in some trouble. We in trouble now.
Yeah.
We in trouble now. I speak to my in my days in law enforcement. I speak to my young black men and young black women, and we have a problem now with parenting today. It's you know, it's like building a bridge. If you don't have a foundation, that bridge can't stand. It starts at home. I honestly believe it starts at home. My mother and father taught me to love and respect one. I'm 60 plus years old, and I still say yes, sir, no, ma'am. It takes you a long way. You know, today or tomorrow, if you call me, I don't care what time it is. I don't care where it's at. You say, P, I need you. I'm not going to ask you why. I'm not going to say what's going on. I'm coming there to help. If we can't help one another, we hurting one another. It's enough. This country been through some dog days. We need to start shining some positive light. And at the end of the day, what is Preston and Chris? What example are we setting? You know, for young people. Now, guess what? We're not perfect.
No.
By far, we're not perfect, and we make mistakes. But what are we teaching our children? You know, children. I tell people this. You want to see a good example? Go park by a nursery and look at and I call our young children little people because they little in stature. Mm-hmm. Go by a nursery and look at them little people out there. Look at the black kid, the white kid, the Asian kid, all of them. You know what? And watch how they get along. You know what they don't? You know what they don't see? They don't see no color.
They don't know anything.
They don't know that. They don't know that. They don't know. You know, they don't know that. Mm-hmm. You know, we got a lot of work we got to do. And our people in leadership have to start showing love for one another. And we just got to sit down, dialogue, and talk, and stop pitting one another against one another. Stop, you know, your view not better than my view is better than your view. And guess what? You know, granted, you know, we live two different lives. You know, black folks and white folks don't live the same. We don't. Okay, I got that. But my lifestyle is not worse than your lifestyle, and your lifestyle is not better than my lifestyle. You know, people in the project are not bad people. That's where they start living at. But they don't end up in a project. You understand? You know, we need to leave this word entitlement alone. You know, privilege. We guess what? God don't want to give us the privilege. You know, he the only one, you know, hung up on the cross. You know, and not to be, you know, mixing religion with it, but it's big. Chris is bigger than me and you.
Oh, I know. I understand completely. I get it.
You know, it's and you know, we need to stop looking at life as a conspiracy theory all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, let's look at the facts. Let the facts lay on the table. I know right now, if I fall and hit this concrete, something going. I'm you know, that's a fact.
I'm helping you out of here.
Right.
If that happens.
You see, you know, but let's be there to support one another. Let's make a change, man. We you know, we can do it.
I always thought it was so weird how mean some people are and how opposed people are to one another, how much they want to fight over everything. Right. But when you think about it, like religion and big picture, just at a broader scale, everything in general.
Right.
How crazy is it that even though there's 7 billion whatever people, and that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
You, in your lifetime, have known thousands probably. I'm probably, obviously less. But you don't get a chance to know a lot of people in your life. Like, you got a small circle, and those are the people in it. And it's just an obscure collection of people that you're around. And why would you spend your time fighting with all those people? Because, you know, after this, like, we're not here forever.
That's right.
We don't have forever.
You know what? This is what I should tell every trip I was on. I would tell, and I considered every geologist, every man and woman, every instructor, everybody I work with, my family, and I use that whole. It's a lot to me when I say family. It means a lot to me when I call you my brother. I take that seriously. And I told the geologist, tell you one thing about me. If I can't help you, I'm not gonna hurt you.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. You know, and people say, well, Pete, what you want to leave behind? I want to leave behind a good soul. I want when I leave, I want to know I did my best for Chris and everybody else. I just want to know I did my best. I gave them my best. I gave them all my respect and love. You understand? What's mine's yours. I can't take it with me.
Yeah.
And I teach that to my grandchildren. I teach that to our children. That's all. Look, I want to say I did my best. When I went out on every trip, I prayed before we left. And for me and for you and my team, I wanted them to know, guess what? Pete bringing 200 plus. I ain't bringing 100. I'm bringing 200 plus. And guess what? I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed it. I didn't do it for somebody to say, Pete, you get. No, I did it for me. And I did it for my team. That's who I did it for. I don't look. I know who I am. I don't need nobody to tell me or say, P, you're a great man. I know I'm great. You understand? I'm gonna give my greatness away to you. I'm gonna be there for you. You understand? Guess what? I don't care what I got to do to help you. Guess what? That's what I'm gonna do. At the end of the day, when our last meals together before we flew coming back to Texas, I knew I gave my family, my team, my best. I knew when Chris knew when I was out on that trip, when Hoffman was with me, when anybody with me, I knew P gave his best. I ain't got to worry about that.
That's what matters.
That's what matters.
That's all you got at the end of the day.
That's it.
That's all you can do.
That's it. At the end of the day. At the end of the day. And look, I got a stack of business cards from instructors and geologists on every trip I've been on. They say, P, call me. I don't care what it is. Whatever you need, call me. I called a geologist one day during the pandemic. This guy had to deviate off the trip. I had to get him to the airport. Come to find out, the cancer came back. And they was talking about it. And it was me and Hoffman, and they said, well, who's gonna drive? We got to get him to the airport. We was pressed for time. I said, look, I'm gonna take him. I said, Hoff, you go with the team. Yeah, I'll find out where you at. I told him, man, I said, Jesse, make sure you got everything. Get all your gear together. We had a 2-hour and 45-minute window to get to the airport for that last flight to get out. 2 hours and 45 minutes. We was 4 out.
Yeah.
I got him there in an hour. Matter of fact, an hour and 6 minutes. I got him there. And in that trip, it was silence, a lot,
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I said, what you need me to do? His name was Paul. He said, Pete, pray for me. You got it. I said, we're gonna do it right now while I'm driving. I was rolling. I had to get him there because I know if he missed that flight, he was gonna have to wait, and for him sitting there pondering about his wife. And we got there, prayed while we got there and everything. And I told him, when you get home, after you get settled, after you check on the wife, after everything, after everything, I said, not before, after all that, then you call me and let me know how you doing, how she doing. And he did. He thanked me. I told him, I said, anytime. My point is, that's what we supposed to do. When you ask to do something, step out your comfort zone. That's what we got to do in this country. Step out your comfort zone and help. Don't look for the accolade. Don't look for the pat on the shoulder. Step out because you know it's right. Be there to help. If we can do that as a country, man, we'd be all right. We're gonna have our problems. It's part of life. But they'd be minimum. They'd be less. we wouldn't be looking at the foolishness we're looking on TV today.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy,
know?
man.
Crazy.
I'm gonna go back to something you said about your school days, though. That football team. Were you any good?
Oh yeah.
What was your record?
Our record, we missed the playoff. I played 2 roles in. I was a running back and I was a wide receiver. We all cried. Let me tell you something. I've never been around a group of white guys. I had a Korean for running back. We had a Spanish, but I've never been amongst men, and we all cried together. I had never been around that. I had never been around that, you know. And what it did, we stayed in contact with each other. We all went to different high schools and wound up playing against each other in some high schools. And we talked. And we stayed in contact. And everybody, I didn't realize how many people wanted me to stay in contact with them as much as I want to stay in contact with them. So we stayed in contact. We shared numbers, and you know, as time changed, then you start getting email. You started the email thing, and and we stayed in contact. And unfortunately, in high school, went to 2 funerals. 2 of the guys I went to school with, one passed tragically in a car accident, and one died from an illness. I still stay in contact with my junior high school buddy, Arthur Caglianetto. He played trumpet, I played drums. His mother and family were financially blessed. He was an Italian. I tell you, my junior high school, we had it all. I'm telling you, we had it all, Chris. He invited me to dinner. His limousine brought him to school, in junior high school. We used to look at the limousine come up, and Arthur, little short guy, and you could see, you know, but people used to say, we had one guy say, he's there you go, look at that nose he got. And we shut that down. Oh, no, he's Arthur. You know, we shut that cat down. Don't go around and call him no Dago. You know, we shut that down. He invited me to dinner. I asked my mom and dad, and they said fine, because I used to talk about my classmates to my parents. My dad, so I said, Mom, they're gonna probably pick me up in the limousine because that's what I ought to go to school in. My dad said, what? I said, yeah. Well, my dad worked in the post office in the area he lived in. My dad knew people with this financially, they were well off, they were good. My father was just concerned about the race thing at that time, me being his son. And I knew he didn't say anything, but I knew. I said, Dad, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be all right. You raised me right. You know, if there's something not right, I know how to leave and call you. He said, okay, son. Well, Arthur, limousine came and picked me up. Arthur was in the car with me, and I ate. We had Italian meal. I'm talking about meatballs and spaghetti. You would, oh my God. We sat at the table. His mother and father loved me like I was their son. You know, they didn't see this.
Yeah.
They didn't see this. Vice versa, and I invited him. He came by my 8 red beans and rice with me. You know, we stayed in contact with each other. He went to Warren Easton High School. I went to McDonald 35. He played in the band. We still played in the band. I played sports. We stayed in, and until this day, I still talk to him.
That's awesome.
He's married. You know, I'm married. Children. He got grandchildren. Got grandkids. He's a lawyer. He lives in New York. You know, doing what we still talk, and it's a friendship that was meant to be.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's a long time.
Yeah.
What was your best football play? You personally?
My best football play, I was a punt return. Terrible. Look, I was a track man. I was a true track man.
So you were the speed back.
I was a speed back. I ran a 4.240. And everywhere I lived at, my 100-yard dash stayed on the record in Louisiana for 12 years. Nobody was able to catch me. I was speed back. And the coach put me on punt return. I was terrified of that.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, you're looking up at a ball and everybody running straight. You can't see it. You don't know how close they are. But you have to rely on your call man in front. Well, my call man got hit. That's how fast it was coming. Now you got to remember, they watch game film on you like we watch game film. They knew I was a running back and wide receiver who was terrorizing them. You know, this particular team we played again. We beat them by 2 touchdowns. The last 2 touchdowns, I burned their cornerback, and I had a Drew Brees for a quarterback.
Oh yeah.
At that time. Well, I'm returning punts, and my call man got hit. When the ball hit me, when I look down, I'm looking at the helmet coming. The guy that left his feet, and I just leaned. I leaned, and his pad hit my shoulder pad. And when I broke to the left, it was all over with. When I got to the sideline, I turned on the afterburners. 99 yards.
I was going to ask you how long.
90. I didn't know until after coach said it was 99 yards. Okay, did the same thing in high school. So then when I in college, I did the same thing.
You were a punt return specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's dangerous. That's why I have so much respect for Tyreek Hill, who played for Kansas City right now.
Yeah.
He's
a beast.
Oh my God. You know, you got to realize, Chris, them guys, you know what, in the NFL, they clocked the special team. The average speed that man running down the field is 30 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
And to get hit in the NFL, they did this physicist did a test. He got in a Volkswagen and drove a Volkswagen 30 miles into the wall, to a brick wall. He said, that's the equivalent, that's how you getting hit. 30 miles now, he kept running the Volkswagen into the brick wall. That's how the guy's getting hit.
Shit. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about Drew Brees?
Well,
do you think he's really done, first of all?
I think he is. And I'm going to tell you why. What made me think when I seen him done, after we lost to Tampa Bay, they showed him and his family on the field talking to Brady.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. He had his daughter with him. You know, but Drew got 3 boys and 1 girl. No. And his daughter was doing backflips. He was with his daughter, you know, while he was talking to the GOAT. And the GOAT, I seen the GOAT threw a pass to his son. When I seen him threw the pass to his the pass to his son, when he hugged the GOAT, I told my wife he out.
Yeah. I like Tom Brady because he's
out.
Tom Brady gets it done, but Drew Brees is, for what he's accomplished, and he was from Westlake, and I went to San Marcos, right? I guess he had just graduated a little bit and went on to play in college and whatever, but for being as tall as he was and how undervalued he was and all the things going against him, man, that man can throw a football. It's insane.
You know what? When you think about it, he's not your big. He's not the big 6'4". He got to step up on his toes.
Mm-hmm.
To get a ball to you. But his work ethic, second to none.
Yeah.
Second to none. And I'm gonna tell you what I think started catching up with him. You see that shoulder injury he had? I noticed, and before every game, I noticed he flexing that shoulder. You know, you got to think about it. When you tear something, you tear that rotary cup, you know, you can build it back up, but that strength is just not up in there. When I start seeing him struggling, getting the ball down the field, 50 yards, you know, and the team notices that. So they started pressing. They started pressing the wide receivers. You know, and I played the position. You know, Michael Thomas played as a wide receiver. Now, if Michael Thomas had that blazing speed, now you got to back off of him. But when you ain't got that blazing speed, even though he's a good route runner, but now they know Drew can't get that ball 60 yards, so they started pressing him.
Yeah, you take away the deep ball.
You take away the deep ball.
And Drew, he had one of the prettiest deep balls.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That was nice.
I'm talking about drop it in the basket. I mean, you know, anytime, you know, and I play wide receiver. Anytime you look over your shoulder and you see the laces spinning down coming into you, yeah, you know, so he you know what, he's gonna be a good sports analyst. He, you know, he gonna call it like he see it. He's seen it all.
Yeah,
he's seen it all.
What about Hill? You think he's gonna be the next starting quarterback, or where do you think they're gonna go? What would you want to see?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, he's a great utility man.
Yeah.
If we're gonna make him a quarterback, we got to keep him as a quarterback, not use him as a utility man. Because you know what, you got to develop his QB skill. Now the ball got an arm on him. Oh, he got a cannon now. You know, he got a cannon, but we got to develop him as this a straight quarterback. He got to learn how to read all these different defenses, all these schemes coming to him. And the reason why they use him as a utility, he's a big boy.
He can run too.
But can he run?
And he'll run you over.
Will he run? He'll truck you over. Let me tell you something. I heard a guy say, I ain't never seen a white guy run that fast. You know, well, I got that. But guess what? They got some white guys got some wheels now. Mm-hmm. Don't think all black guys got the wheels. They got some white guys that got some. Guess what? Watch track and field. They got some boys coming out of Japan. See Japan 4x4 relay team? Watch them.
Yeah. Pretty quick.
Watch them.
Okay.
You know, I fought track and field. You know, track and field. I played all sports, and I really love baseball. You know, I had and my position playing baseball, I played center field. You know why? I run you down.
Yeah.
You get that ball, you on third base. Okay, try it. I dare you. I'm the catcher better make sure he ready, because I'm sending it to him. And my coach noticed that. I didn't have no baseball team in high school, but once again, back to my junior high school, we had man, my junior high school prepared me for life, Chris, with people.
That's awesome.
That's what it did for me. Not just a sports thing. It prepared me for people.
Yeah, it sounds like a unique. It sounds like a lot going on, a lot of good people.
And guess what? We had great teachers.
Yeah.
You understand? I had one. My wife heard me talk about my history teacher, Mr. DeTeege. He was about 5'2". He taught history. Now, granted, he had black kids, white kids, Hispanic. He had every race up in there. He taught history for everybody. So we learned history for everybody, for the whole world. You know,
Nice.
You know, a white kid left out there knowing history about his race, Hispanic. I mean, that's how great the teachers we had at that school.
And that's awesome. That's good.
You know, it was just something great, man. It really was.
Yeah. Where was that located? Relation? Is that New Orleans?
In New Orleans.
New Orleans?
No, it was in New Orleans. The school was located on Canal Street.
Yeah, no, Canal Street.
Yeah,
ran down that once or twice.
Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't in the commercial part. It was on the opposite end, going toward Metairie. It was located on Canal Street, and it was PGT Beauregard. And guess what? Not knowing who PGT Beauregard was, you know, it didn't bother us as students, you know, because
some local figure or something like that.
Well, you know, they said PGT Beauregard was supposed to have been, you know, a racist, a Confederate soldier, you know, and all this. But you know what? It never bothered. Guess what? That body student who had there, man, we wasn't worried about that.
Yeah.
You know what, Chris? I love going to school. I didn't want to miss no school.
Really? Were you a good student?
I was a great student. I was an honor student.
Good grades?
I was an honor student. I wanted to go to school. My mother and father had no problem with me going to school. I got my clothes prepared the night before to go to school. You thought I was going on a job. I want to see my classmates. They want to see me. You know, picture us sitting at this table. You sitting here, I'm sitting here. I got a Hispanic sister here. I got an Asian sister there. I got an Italian brother there. I got a Jewish brother there. I mean, that's what we had there.
That's amazing.
That's what we had there.
That's really good.
And we all sat down there, and guess what? We talked about everything. We didn't pick one another behind the black stuff, the white stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. You know, and guess what? We did stuff together. We did community work for scenes together. You know, we never. Chris, I ain't started really hearing about race issues until I became an adult. I seen it when I worked in law enforcement.
When was it? Was it law enforcement time or a little bit before that?
When in law enforcement time.
Yeah.
You know, that's when I seen it. And you know what? And I didn't let it bother me. I took an oath to protect and serve the community. I didn't take an oath to protect just Chris. I didn't take an oath to protect the house up on St. Charles Avenue. I didn't take an oath just to protect the projects. I took an oath to protect and serve the community. We see, when I did law enforcement, we were doing community policing. See, we used to walk the street.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, if I was in your district, in your neighborhood, when we walk and it's park like we're and children playing basketball, we go over there, we shoot the hoops with the kids, introduce ourselves, and what it did, it developed a bond. They trusted us, and what it did, I didn't have to ask who was smoking weed. They said, Officer Smith, we know so and so who's smoking weed. What? Seriously? Yeah. So guess what? But that's all you had then. It was just a little, it was just a little weed. And then it's just things started snowballing, in society. The drug culture just took off. And then when I got assigned to be an undercover narcotics agent, then I seen it at its worst. I seen people's lives just turned upside down. I seen the judicial system flip. I seen it turn into a money-making machine. Behind taking people's freedom away from them. You comfortable with making money off of and taking people. Now, granted, if you do something bad, you're supposed to pay the price for it. I'm not condoning none of that, but to make money off of it, not what you pimping people now.
What was the closest you ever got to, I don't know, gunfight, physical altercation? Because you were undercover, like you were a plant pretty much, weren't you?
Yeah.
What was the scariest you got?
I was in a gun battle.
Were you really?
Yeah. With a guy who was on. He had been speedballing. He had been smoking crack and shooting heroin at the same time. And he was wanted. We had a warrant out for his arrest. Well, I had done a drug deal, not with him, but with his associates. And it so happened I didn't know we had a attachment out for him, a warrant out for him. And in the case, we found out so we had two teams working. We had the warrant team out for him, and we were trying to get the guy I did the drug deal with. Well, we caught him in this old ballroom in a little ballroom in the hood, and he said he was not going. And I'm in the ballroom, and my sergeant said, we got a UC. My UC is in there.
What was your role in this? You were acting. You were a part of. Just like a normal guy that was there.
I was a normal guy.
And they were about to come in on you.
And they about to come in.
Did they know?
And
I guess not till your sergeant told you.
But when my sergeant told the warrant team.
Yeah.
You understand? He said, look, I got a UC up in there. The deal has been done. Watch him. He up in there. Well, the gunfire started. So this guy was on one side of the refrigerator shooting at my backup outside. He didn't know I was on the other side of the refrigerator. So they got to return fire. And then my sergeant saying, y'all can't return fire in there, but my UC in there. We don't know where he's at. The gunfire was so loud, and I had a bug in my ear to talk. They couldn't hear me. I couldn't hear them. I'm looking at the flash from the gun, you know, because the gun, you know, the fire. I'm on this side, and I could see the fire, boom, just shooting by me. But what I did, when he stopped, I ran out, and they had a open window, and I dove through the window, and they returned fire. This guy got shot 13 times, didn't die.
Wow.
Well, he was full. He was
Superman.
He was Superman. He got shot 13 times, and they had to tie him to the gurney to keep him from getting up off the gurney.
That's crazy.
That gun, I couldn't. My right ear, I had a ringing in my ear for about 3 weeks.
They didn't let you carry a gun or anything when you were undercover?
Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't.
What would you have done if you had one? I assume you didn't have one.
Well, I didn't have one, but if I had one, I'd have shot through that refrigerator. I'd have lit him up. I'd have shot in that refrigerator. I'd have lit him up. Now, what would have done to him? I don't know, because he got shot. After all, he got shot 13 times. You see,
that's wild, man.
You know, I've had some.
I'd heard about some close calls from just sitting with you talking on the trips. But I didn't know you were in a gun battle.
Yeah, you know, I got stabbed in a takedown. You know, guy, you know, stabbed me, and I threw him down 3 flights of steps. Man. You know, yeah, he and good thing he didn't pull a knife back, but he did when he hit me with the knife. He went in and came out.
Yeah, this straight puncture wound.
This straight puncture wound. I threw him down 3 flights of steps.
Good for you.
You know.
Good for you.
You know, it just the elements started changing, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm concerned. I pray for men and women in law enforcement. People don't have respect for law enforcement no more. I'm gonna tell you, the bad guys don't. And once again, you know, we pitting to one another. You know, look, all lives matter, Chris.
Yeah.
You know, not just black lives. Everybody's life matters.
There's some bad cops out there too.
Yeah, I work with some. I work with some guys.
They're just,
you know,
that's bad people wearing a cop uniform.
Right, that's all it is.
They're bad people to begin with.
It is. And I'm gonna tell you something. That bad cop make it hard for the good cop to do their job. Yeah. See, because now you lump them together.
How do you fix that? What do you do?
Well,
what can you do?
I'm gonna tell you something.
Got the birds over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. The good cops got to say, look, man, you need not be here. And it's a way of doing it. You understand? And I'm gonna tell you something. It's a thin line. You see, because now you're wondering who gonna rat you out. Who gonna back you up on the call? You see, you know. But guess what? That bad cop can get you killed. You see, they got, you know, and it could be a simple traffic stop. Something as simple as that. Because they ran into that bad cop who did something to them before. Now you're gonna figure, and guess what? It could be me being a bad cop. They're gonna take it out on you. You know, you have to speak out about ugly. You have to speak out about hatred. You got to speak up about it. You know, because if you don't, it's like a cancer. It just start forming and just start spreading, and it don't stop. And then what it does, it affects the good tissue, just like cancer does. It affects the good tissue. It affects the good people. They got some men and women out there doing great jobs out there.
That's hard work too.
It's hard. It's hard. Let me tell you something. Nowhere near when I was. It's hard. It's more stressful now. I don't know what you know. When I went through the academy, I can't imagine what they teach them in the academy now. Yeah. Really, I can't imagine. I know they got some stressful, some you know, some courses that they're going through besides your basic stuff. I can't imagine what they're going through. But you know what? This is the kicker. Everybody get the same thing. But then see, when you put that badge and that gun on, who are you now? That's the element. We all getting the same training, but when you're out there on the street, who are you now? And I'm gonna say this to anybody who working in law enforcement, black or white. If you're afraid of a black man, afraid of a white man, you need not be no police officer, because you're gonna encounter either or. If that's gonna terrify you to pull that service revolver out and unload it up in them because you're afraid of it, you're in the wrong profession. You need not be, and it's your approach. Chris, I've talked to some idiots in my days, but it's the approach. I've called the idiot I addressed him, Mr. Oswald, the reason why I'm stopping you for such and such, and I haven't got no good response. Whatever. Why the F you stopping me, sir? This is why I'm stopping you. Somebody got to have the cooler head. You understand? Just because I got the badge and the gun, that don't make I shouldn't have to escalate it. See, because now what I'm doing, I'm creating a problem for myself that I might not walk out of, or somebody might not walk out of. You see, so, and guess what? Everybody can't do that on their feet. And everybody, guess what? They got people who want to be a cop. Can you be one? Wanting to be a cop and being one is two different things.
Yes.
You understand? And it's like with any other profession, I think, but it's more weight bearing, man.
Oh yeah, the stakes are a lot lower, but that's what I tell people about doing the stuff in the field. Like, everybody wants to be out there and have that job, but you've been out there. It's,
right.
It's not all pretty. It's not all easy. It's not.
No. You see,
fun.
It's not
good
fun.
Time travel vacation.
No.
It's
you
work.
See, it's work.
No one's going to get shot at, hopefully, and everybody's going to make it home alive. There's a much greater chance. But.
It's like that time when we went on the hike when the young lady sprained her ankle. Mm-hmm. Now everything changes. Everything, we focused on this young lady. Everybody's safety is priority. But guess what? Her safety priority then went up a notch now.
Now you got to deal with that.
Now I got to deal with that. So now what I got to do as a team, now I got to get with you. I got to get with my heavy hitters. Okay, this is what we got to do. What we doing? You understand? Then we got to drive down a dangerous road. Mm-hmm. Time is the essence. We can't afford no flats. We got to get her back. You understand? You see, so, and once again, training kick in, and one of the geologists told me, "Say, Pete, don't like nothing right out of you." I said, I told him, it's not being arrogant about it. I can't let nothing right out of me, but if it do, I'm not no good for you.
You've seen much worse too.
Yeah.
Partially, like you said in the trainings, like the idea is to make you scared out there on that hill because you're not going to see anything that bad. But man, I'm sure you've seen some crazy stuff.
Oh my God! I'm gonna tell you something. My mom hated me being in law enforcement.
I believe that. My mom hates me riding a motorcycle.
She hated it and it leaned upon my dad. I'm the only son they had. My dad said, "But you couldn't pick nothing else to do. You couldn't finish up in nursing." I said, "Dad, I could still do that." But this is what I just felt. It was my call, and I felt I needed to be out there to help guide people. I can't save everybody, but if I could save one, I know I've done an accomplishment. Just like when we be out on the trips, I want to make sure everybody got back home. I didn't want to have to call you or call anybody on the team and say such and such happened or this happened. You see, I told Hoffman, I said, Hoffman, I said, he used to think my time. He said, he said, I'm glad I got you with me. I said, I'm glad we have each other, because at the end of the day, we had to support one another. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you the one trip that really shook me up, Chris. I did part of the hike, and we got into this like a little cove, and you could see there had been like a big animal there were just bones left. This guy, the ranch we was on, it was like 26,000 acres. Now, and like we have to sign the waiver and everything. And the guy was it was passing by, and he seen us doing the hike. And I asked him, I said, man, what you know, what you have out here on this land? He said, well, you know, he said every now and then we get a what kind of cat he told me
Probably
it
a
was?
cougar or a mountain lion.
A mountain lion. He said, you know, he said every now and then, he said we got him out
It's
here.
a big cat.
He said that's what it was. And he said now we had something. He said this then had a field day off of one of my cattle, off a cow. So that's what was in this code. So anyway, we about, I'm gonna say about 500 yards away from the trucks. And I read up, and I remember he said, you know, Mom, they like to hide down in the brush. And so Dr. Lee was one of the instructors, so we talk about this code. So I'm listening all of a sudden. So Dr. Lee said, well, Pete, you gonna finish the walk with us? You know, the rest of the way? I said, no. I said, no, I'm gonna wait for y'all in the cold. Nice, beautiful day like this little warm up. But they got a lot of brush, tall brush. You can't see through it. The brush might have been 6 feet, 7 feet. Chris, all of a sudden, the brush went to swaying.
Really?
You know, ain't no wind blowing it. It's like I'm looking at the brush, and like I'm looking over your shoulder. I'm doing this. I'm saying, why is this brush moving? And let me tell you something. I hadn't sprinted in years.
I was gonna say, you got that 4.2 speed back out.
So look, so I'm looking at the brush moving, then it stopped. So I just eased out the cold.
Time to go.
And I don't want to step on no leaves. I don't want to crack nothing. And they had a trail that we walked up to the cove. It was smooth, and they had a little stream of water. I took off. And look, and I hear the brush moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking back. I'm getting it. And my truck had a remote to open up the door. And I'm hitting the remote. I kept hitting the remote until I heard the doors open up. I don't know how I did it. All in one motion, open up the door. I'm on a passenger seat. Blew my clothes the door behind me. And I looked back, and it was nothing. I'm on the radio, so Doc and them, and this is a new radio we got now.
Yeah.
So Doc, they way up on the hill, on a mountain somewhere, and we doing a radio check. Doc said, Dr. Bass. I said, this Bass. I said, where y'all at? He good. He said, P, you in the cove? Nope.
Change your plans.
He said, where you at, P? I said, in the truck. I said, and I just thought about it. But look, I always told the team, we all going home. Walking, talking. Ain't nobody going home in no box. No. We going home to our family. Right. And I told them, y'all going home. And so I said, P, you going home? Well, yeah, I'm going home too. But guess what? If I don't go home, I'm going to make sure y'all go home. Somebody got to say what happened. Y'all going home. Don't worry about me. Y'all going home.
Yep.
Y'all going home. And I'm going to tell you, that was the first time on any trip, all the trips I had been on, Chris. And when that guy told me about that mountain lion, and that and we're talking about a cow was to the bone. I'm talking about naked to the bone. I mean, I'm talking about he
you
was.
Wouldn't last long, man.
Look, I told my wife, see, babe, he'd have ate my spine. He'd have snatched my spine. He'd have been chewing on my spine.
Yep, man.
I told him.
It could have been out there too. Yeah. Even though you didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything.
They hide really well.
You know, and I told my.
They blend into that colored grass too.
Right. And when I talked to the guy, he told me, and look, on his ATV, he had a rifle. He had a 30-06 on that ATV with him.
I bet. Man, that's funny.
Yeah, man.
I remember after a trip, it was in Moab again, but I was hiking for fun. And I'd stopped. I'd been like 6 or 7 miles, and I was hiking on my way back out, and I was tired, so I stopped, sat on a rock about the size of this picnic table, and just sitting down. Stayed there for 5-10 minutes, and then I was getting my bag, which I set over the side on the rock. Grabbed the bag, and between me and the bag, about right here, which is a foot maybe, baby rattlesnake. Never even seen a rattlesnake in my life up close. It was sitting there the whole time. Didn't see it because it was camouflage. It blended in really well, and I wasn't looking because I was just like, yeah, I'm out here hiking. I never seen a rattlesnake out here. Kind of don't believe the hype anymore.
Right.
Sitting right there, and the babies can kill you. Babies will kill you quick because they can't control the venom.
Yeah.
But I got a good picture of it, and it was calm. It stayed there, but that's probably my closest wildlife encounter that I've had out in any of those areas. But it got me thinking for sure.
Yeah. You know what? You know, when you're dealing with nature,
Nature don't care.
Nature don't care, and that's why I think every person, if you have a chance, just get out in the park somewhere. You know, not. Well, yeah, to see stuff like that, but get out here knowing, guess what? This is something you can't control, but you can control yourself amongst it.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do to make it? You know, we so used to being in controlled environments, Chris. You know, and everything ain't gonna be controlled in your life. So how you adapt? You know what? Just like dealing with people, you can't control everybody, but you have to control what you hear and what you respond to what you hear. You know, look, I've been called all kind when I worked the streets, when I had that uniform on, I've been called all kind of names. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. You know, but then again, I want to say for the most part, I have more people I met say thank you. You know, for your service.
What do you do mentally with the people that are the opposite, aren't thankful, they want to run you down, do all these things? What do you do with that?
You know what? I take that and say, okay, what can I do to diffuse a situation or that person? What do I do when I encounter that again? How do I respond to it? Because I always told myself it might not be the same situation, but it's going to be something equivalent. So what do I do? And let me tell you something. Just like I do now, I deal with the public every day. You know, I'm dealing with the public now with a pandemic. You know, people don't have the money to get their call service. You know, I had a man flat out told me, man, I'm not paying, I mean, this cuss, I'm not paying that F amount money for no car. I said, Doc, I understand. You know, I didn't take what he said personal. Mm-hmm. You know, and see, yeah, and that's when you got to listen. And I seen a guy who was disgusted. He was frustrated because he didn't have the money to pay for this part, and it was in the car wouldn't pass state inspection if it needed inspection. So what I did, learning from my past experience, let's calm him down. That's, you know, he don't have the money, so we're not gonna talk about nothing else. Say, look, Doc, I understand that, but this at this point in time, look, bring the car home. Try to not drive it as much as you can because you're gonna make it worse. So now I'm getting them to engage in conversation. You know, and it brings it brings it down. You know, it's how we react to people. Chris, I've had some crazy situations that could have turned out real volatile or real bad, and I had the person wind up saying, "Man, look, I apologize. Man, it's cool. You all right? Cool. You know." I didn't make him feel less of a person behind him disrespecting me. Cool. We sat down, we talked about it. I had a guy come back in the store and told me, said, Mr. Smith, I owe you an apology. And what I did, I said, why you think you owe me an apology? My reason for saying I want him to think about what he did so he won't do it again.
I like that.
You know, I said, why you think you owe me an apology? And he explained everything that he verbatim told me, how he talked to me, the language that he used and everything, you know. And he said, and he said, I owe you an apology. And we sat down and we talked about it. You know, when I lived in Virginia, before we moved to Texas, I had a Goodyear store. So I'm dealing with a lot of military guys. Never had no problem with the military guys because they know you got to walk a tightrope. You representing the government, the military. Well, we had a sign say, when doing business, please hang up your cell phone. This young guy in the Navy was on the phone And what I did, I waited till he got off the phone. He told me, Chris, he said, Mr. Smith, go ahead and tell me about the ticket. Because he asked me to tell him, I said, this is what it's gonna cost you for the tire, this, that. Okay. But he on the phone. Oh, okay. So we do the work on the car. So now when he come to pick it up, all hell broke loose. It got so bad. Now you threaten me. Now I don't walk. I'm a pro. I don't come from around the counter on you now. And guess what? Boy, by 6'2", 6'3", don't matter to me. To me, the bigger yours, I like them big. I like them big. I'm gonna show you how you gonna slam. I'm gonna slam you to this floor. And I walked around the counter to him, and he talking smack. My mechanics in the back see it. They walking out, but not. What I didn't see was his commander in the store. He in the store now. He didn't see his commander. I didn't see him. And I told him, I said, didn't I tell you? I said, don't you see this sign right here? I said, if you'd have got your ass off that goddamn phone, you'd have knew what it was costing to pay for that. Hey, and before you know it, his commander says, soldier. When he turned around, boy, he got right. And he called him outside my store. And I could see the commander just, by this time, my mechanics in my store saying, P, what's going on? And Jay said, P, he said, I ain't never seen it, but I seen it. I seen it come. He said, I told Rob, we better get in there. This gonna be ugly. The commander to talk to him, now the young man come back in, stood up. He said, Mr. Smith, he said, first of all, he said, sir, I owe you an apology. He said, I should never verbally talk to you like you did. He said, sir, he said, I disregarded your son, this and that. I said, son, can I talk to you? You understand? I said, yeah. I said, you a great soldier. Ain't nothing wrong with you. I said, you disregarded the instructions. I said, I know you. I said, what type of ship you on? And my son-in-law was in the Navy at the time, and he was on a destroyer. I said, so what you do? He said, I load the big guns. I said, nah, I know you pay attention to that. You loading big guns on the ship? I said, don't they have instructions to that? Yes, sir. I said, how long you been doing it? He said, going on 6 years. I said, and you couldn't pay attention to these instructions here? I said, look, I said, don't do that. I said, because I'm gonna tell you something. I was gonna make sure you got the instructions. Trust me. I said, boy, I said, you know what?
You were hot.
I told him. I said, let me tell you something. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm capable of doing to you. You know what I told him? I don't give a fuck what the Navy taught you. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you some how people told me to kill people like you. He looked at me. You know what this commander told me? I told you.
Yeah, I bet. And then I bet he paid.
And guess what? And he paid.
Yeah.
And you know what? Never had no problem. Came back to the store. My point is, back to your question, how you learn. You have to. You know what, Chris? You have to have a data bank in here and in here. You have to store some stuff that help you continue to live through the next situation.
It's always going to be a situation.
Look, every hike you've been on been different. So let's use the rattlesnake. See on your next hike?
I'll be looking for rattlesnakes.
There you go. You see, guess what? That's that data bank.
Yeah.
That's that data bank here. And guess what? As for people, we have to have a data bank in our heart. We got to, Chris. If we don't, bro, we're not gonna make it in this world, man. You know what? We're gonna be disgusted. We're gonna be miserable. We're gonna be some mean, hateful people.
Agreed.
That's what we're gonna be, my brother.
Our last question for you, and then we can wrap up.
Okay.
From New Orleans, you said you like cooking. What's the best thing you can make? What's your best dish?
Beside my gumbo.
So gumbo's number one.
Gumbo's number one.
What do you put in there? Shrimp, sausage, chicken?
You got andouille sausage, chicken, shrimp, And there's two type of gumbos. You can do a okra gumbo or a filet gumbo. Most people do a filet gumbo, and the filet gumbo is just seasoning. The key to the gumbo is getting the roux, that color, that brown. That's you don't get that right. Guess what? You just got soup.
You do filet or the other one?
I can do both of the gumbos, but that's the key to it. If you don't get that color right, it's over. It's over. Another thing, my wife loved. She liked me to stuff red fish. But I bake. I do a stuffed red fish, and I bake it with new potatoes, and a vegetable, and I steam the vegetable. And what I do, I split that red fish down the middle, and get some crab meat, season it, stuff it where it's swole, lap it back over, season it well, and put it in that broth and let it and bake it. I bake it. I like to slow bake it, where we get a nice little crust on the top of it. Slow bake it at 250 for about 45, and check on it for about an hour. Once you start getting those juices up in it, baste it with the juice. Just keep pouring the juice over it. And I might take some carrots, broccoli, cut them up. I'll boil them first, get them crunchy, not soft.
Yeah.
Take them out, put them over a colander, and steam them.
Huh.
And I take a wet towel and put on top of it so that steam will stay up in
Steam them after you broil them.
After I broil them, and then season them, and guess what? And fix it. And my wife, I love salad. I can eat salad every day. So most time when I do a salad, I like to put a little walnut shrimp up in it. I take some shrimp, put them in a crab barrel, eggs, walnuts, nice salad. But not nothing big, because your biggest course is that fish.
Yeah.
Nice little side salad, and guess what? You can't go wrong with whatever choice of your wine that you drink. Now if it's a brother, if I'm doing that for the brother, well, guess what? I learn about them IPAs.
Learn from those geologists.
I learned from the geologists about them IPAs. Yeah. So if I'm doing, if it's me, say like if it's me and you and the brothers, and I'm doing that fish thing, now I'm gonna tell you what I would do for us with the fish. I do mashed potatoes or baked potatoes, because it's me. You want a hearty meal.
Yeah.
So I do a baked potato, and guess what? And make sure we got a nice cold brew.
With it.
My wife loves seafood. Every Friday we do seafood.
Nice. That's a good routine. I like that.
Yeah, every Friday. Every Friday I fry some oysters. I might fry a shrimp or fish, or I might bake the fish for whatever she wants. She tell me, Bill, whatever you do, that's good for me. I might do a jambalaya rice with it. I might do it, as a side. She might get a feel for a baked potato or mashed potatoes. So, but every Friday I do seafood for her. Every Friday.
That's
every
awesome.
Friday.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna have to do it again, because we could talk here forever. I don't want to keep you out here forever.
Man,
thank you.
Anytime, man. Let's do this again, man.
Absolutely, and hopefully later in the year we'll be doing a lot more work too.
And look, one day I want us to go back. Remember when we had our last team meeting, when we ate that burger spot? Remember, it was me, you, we all.
It was in Houston.
Yeah, not too far from off.
Probably.
Huh?
Hop Dotty, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's delicious.
Yeah.
That was a good burger.
I want to end this interview with thanking you, and I ask that God continue to bless you and keep you with health and strength, and keep you giving. Chris, you're a giver, and what you have given to me, it gives me to give back to other people. When we give to each other people benefit from our giving. Don't stop giving, my brother. Continue to be the man that your parents have raised. I'm thankful for my friendship with you. You, my brother from another mother. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I don't care what it is. You call me, and it's not about getting paid all the time. It's being there. You know, thank you for opening up my life to the world. I've seen some beautiful places that God, I tell you, I've learned so much. I never realized mountains that I see were underwater. Well, when I hear the instructors that's been on these groups, great, great.
Mhm.
And guess what? I've shared that with the instructors. Um, you know, some of them they crazy. Andy Pullum with his craziness, but guess what? He was great. You know, crazy. You know, but guess
great.
what? But great. You know, Dr. Lee, him and Ryan, I love them like a father and a mother. Them two there, I love them for not just their skills. I love them for their soul. I love them like I love you for your soul and your spirit. I'm blessed, man. I wanna continue to do this. Continue to let me be a part of your life. You a part of me and my wife's life forever and a day. And I'm asking that God bless you to bring this endeavor back to these geologists. Let's give them something that's gonna make them better at their craft, but not just at their craft, be better people. You know, one of the geologists told me, he said, Preston, I don't want to go home. He said, but he said, I feel good going home. He said, I feel good going home. He said, because RPS, he said, and this was his first trip with us. He had heard about the other trip from his other teammates, and he was with one of the groups who was bought out by somebody else. He said he didn't know what to expect. He said, but he said, my expectation was met. He said, beyond. He said, Pete, and I want to thank you. He said, you, Hoffman, Chris, and you was on. He said, I want to thank y'all, man. He said, I'm going to be a better geologist. He said, but I'm going to be a better husband and better father. But he told me, I had told him, I said, I need y'all to love your sons, man, and love your daughter. Hug them. Ask them how they do when you see them. I know y'all busy when you get home. Ask your wife, ask your children, how was your day? Don't make it be all about your day. Ask them how they doing. See, that's what you gave me to be a part of RPS family. And I'm gonna tell you something. It has enlightened my life. It's given me to teach to other children. And guess what? It's helped me with other parents too. Because I'm a part of my parenting class group at church. You see? So and that's what it's done for me, and thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, amen, brother, and thank you. 'Cause I'll tell the story sometime next time we meet, maybe about first time we met on the spot bus after that trip. But man, it was crazy, and I think you've been a huge blessing, and by far one of the highlights of the whole RPS time that I had. So I'm thankful that we crossed paths and you got to work out in that capacity, and that we'll work together in the future.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna tell you, you know what, I think about that. But people ask me, how you got that job? And I tell them how I got the job.
Yeah.
But you know what my wife always told me, and my mom and they said, son, somebody's always watching, and whatever you're doing, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad. And Chris, every day I went to the parking spot, I gave them 200%. Every day, whether they tip me or not. And I enjoyed doing what I did, and I've had some. I talked to Sean, the assistant manager. I called to check on him. It was his cancer that came back, and he was at work. He told me a couple of days ago, he said, P, I want to tell you, I guess asked about you. And said, what happened to Preston? Because a lot of us are not back there. And he told me, see, the company just didn't call everybody back, and then the driver started catching COVID. And I couldn't take that chance.
Yeah.
And come home and
you can't bring that home with your wife.
And bring that home to my wife. And he told and he said he said, Sean, I could ride that bus 7 days a week with Preston. He was still the same. He was professional.
No bad days.
He said he helped you with that luggage. He would load it up. He would say, have a safe flight, come back home. He said, this is what he would tell me. He was a lawyer. He said, come on back home. He said, you know what? He said, I had never had nobody tell me that. So he asked me one day, he said, is that a New Orleans thing, a Louisiana thing? I said, you know what, pretty much because, you know, in the South, you know, when I was still, so Chris, how the family doing? That's just, you know, I was raised like that. And it's out of respect, you know, wanting to know how you doing and how the family doing. But one or two things you're gonna tell me, P, we doing all right, or things not going right. Well, if things not going right, well, I need to be praying for the family. That's you know, that's that part of that culture. And I would tell him that every day when I would see him. He told Sean, he said, you know what? Now I ask people, how you doing? How your family doing? Come home, you know. He said that little, he said the little things. He said that's what Preston should do. And he told Sean, he said, Sean, I done rode this bus with some drivers I wouldn't even want to go to the corner with. He said, I'm just telling you. He said, and I know they weren't trained by Preston. I know they weren't trained by Preston. He said, I've gotten on a bus with other drivers who drove that bus like Preston, very much with safety. He didn't jam on the brakes. He wouldn't have you rocking and rolling up in the bus. He didn't turn the corner. He'd be leaning all over the place. He said he knew he had people behind him. Yeah. I need you to get home safe. I need you to get to this airport safe. You know? I think I told you. A lot of parents wouldn't a lot of parents wouldn't put the seatbelt on their kids. Yeah. But the kids put their own seatbelt on, but the parents didn't. You know? And we had an accident. One of the drivers, a seasoned driver, jammed on brakes, man, and that thing I told that lady broke her jaw. Yeah. You know, hit the pole up and then knocked 8 of her teeth out of her mouth and broke her jaw. You know. Yeah,
I remember it knocked teeth out. I forgot about the jaw. I didn't know about the jaw.
Well, it come to find out, it broke her jaw afterwards. You see, so, you know, things like that. You know, look, I used to tell when I was instructor, when you pick up Chris Oswald and people, look, they done flew here. They done flew in a plane. It had been 30,000 feet in the air, made it back here on your bus. Now you gonna kill them? No, take your time and get them back to their car safe. They're here. Ain't no rush. You don't need to be flying down JFK like a bat out of here. Take your time and get these people back. How you doing, sir? All right. Howdy. You know, I like that. You know, so, you know, take your time.
Yeah.
You see, but you know what? That's it was money driven. Money driven.
You got to make money, but I don't think it can be the focus of everything you do. You got to have some heart, some passion, and sensibility to it.
We have to. I
think that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, yes it does. Yes it does.
Well, thanks, man.
All right, my brother.
I appreciate it.
You know, anytime, you know that.